Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to effectively do keyword research with a simple 4-step plan. Stay tuned. Keyword research is the key component to your SEO strategy, so it's very important that you do it properly before you begin doing SEO work for yourself or for a client. So the 4 steps that I have written down here should give you an idea of how to properly do keyword research. So step 1 is determine what your company does. If your company offers a range of services, write those down. Do they offer these services in a range of geographic locations? Make note of that. So it's important to know exactly what your company does and who they serve. Step 2, use a keyword research tool to find keyword ideas. In today's video, I'm going to take a look at Ahrefs, SEMrush, and a free tool called Ubersuggest. There are other tools such as the Google Keyword Planner. There are many keyword research tools actually, but those are the 3 I'm going to look at today. Step 3 is create a list of the top keywords used in your industry / geographic location. Both the industry and the geographic location are important aspects of a list of keywords that you're going to target, because your industry is going to obviously heavily influence the keywords, but the geographic location as well, because keyword preference of usage, preference of different words depends on geographic location. So for example, pressure cleaning services might be the acceptable term in the United States, but in Ireland, for example, they may use another term. Even East Coast and West Coast of the United States may use different terms for the same thing. So geographic location is important to note. Step 4 is develop your SEO strategy around your keyword research. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Keyword research should always precede your SEO strategy. So let's dive in. Let's take a look. So the first one I have here is Ubersuggest, which is a free tool. Let's look at keyword research for an SEO company, and let's keep it very simple. So I've actually already done a search. I've typed in SEO. So this is what you get when you type in SEO with the free keyword research tool. It's going to show you the search volume, the SEO difficulty, the paid difficulty, the cost per click. What these 3 mean is this is ranking. It's measuring the difficulty to outrank the companies that are already in search. So the SEO difficulty, if it's very high, it's going to be very difficult to rank for this term. The paid difficulty is related to the cost per click. So you can see that it's $14 per click, which is very high. So if you want to advertise for this keyword and shoot right to the top of search engines, you're going to be paying $14 per click, which may or may not be profitable to you. So let's take a look at some of the other data that you can get. On mobile, there is more search volume than on desktop, so that's important to note. If you want to see historical data, you have to upgrade. You don't really get too much information here. In fact, if you look under keyword ideas, you see a lot of Korean names, South Korean names. Seo is a popular South Korean name, and therefore you see very many celebrities here. So this is the drawback of the Ubersuggest tool. It's free if you want to just do quick keyword research, but you're going to have to be very specific with your keyword ideas if you want to get any reasonable data. So if I type in SEO company, now we can see a little bit more granular data, but that is the extent of this free tool. So let's take a look at some paid tools and let's see how the data improves. So the first tool I'm going to look at is SEMrush, and I've actually already plugged in SEO here. This is the keyword magic tool in SEMrush. I like SEMrush for keyword research because they give you a lot of data as far as the volume. There are some drawbacks, as you will see. So right away we see a bunch of South Korean celebrity names, but the good thing about SEMrush is we can exclude those. So let's exclude some terms that are part of South Korean celebrity names and other unrelated things. So let's exclude those and let's see what the results are. So we still have another one here. So let me just remove this word. And now we have a relatively, relevant list here. There are some more Korean names here, but you can see for SEO, we're looking at 135,000 volume, which is in fact what we were looking at with Ubersuggest. So when you see this kind of consistency, you can kind of trust the results, I think. With SEMrush, you can also see this trend line. So you can see that it stays fairly consistent, which means it's not like a seasonal term. Now, if I were to look at, let's say SEO company, you can see the trend kind of goes down and then it flattens out. This is a sign that maybe this is a more seasonal term. So maybe people are looking for SEO companies in January and then their interest fades over the rest of the months of the year. Maybe they want to do an SEO company for the beginning of the year and they found one already by spring. So a little bit more telling is, let's see here, Joe SEO. You can see it spikes here. So this tells you that while this does get 12,000 volume, it is not a generally popular term. It's just something that maybe showed up in the news and people started searching for it, but that interest died fairly quickly. That keyword is not sticking around, so it might not be worth trying to rank for. So this is SEMrush. There are a lot of different tools that you can use here, a lot of different features. The filters are really what make this useful. So I'm going to include the word company and see what we get here. So this has really, really narrowed down my search and made it much more relevant. You can see here that I am looking at United States data. This is not global data. And you may never really care about global data. You may only ever care about per country. As I said before, the geographic location will affect the keywords and the word preferences used for similar services. So the United States may use the word SEO companies, but if I were to go to the United Kingdom, for example, SEO company is more popular. So in the United States, they may be looking for lists of SEO companies, where in the United Kingdom, they're just looking for one specific. Maybe they're looking to click on an ad. And once again, you can see the cost per click. You can see the KD, which stands for keyword difficulty. So the higher the KD, the higher it is, the harder it's going to be to rank. And you can see other interesting things like SERP features. So what I would take away from this is, let's go back to the United States for a moment. What I would take away from this is that people are interested in SEO companies, followed by SEO services, followed by SEO agencies. So I would try to rank for SEO companies if I wanted to attract the most volume. You can see the KD is 67 here. For SEO services, it's 68, and SEO agencies, it's 65. So all the KD is fairly consistent among those top three terms, but SEO companies gets most of the search volume, and so therefore I would add SEO companies as my primary keyword, and that would be the first keyword to go on my list. So let's add that here. So we're already on step 3. So SEO companies. That would be my primary keyword. Now, you have to take into account that there are variations of SEO. There is search engine optimization. And you can also find some useful data that way. So that's SEMrush, and that's how I would do keyword research on SEMrush. Let's take a look at Ahrefs. I'm using the Keywords Explorer for Ahrefs. This is another paid tool. They offer a lot of different tools. This is their version of the keyword research tool. So I've already typed in SEO, and I'm looking at United States data. And you can see here I get the search volume. Let's compare that to SEMrush. There are some differences in search volume between SEMrush and Ahrefs. This one shows me 135,000 in the United States, and this one shows me 270,000. So that leads me to an important point that you can't really trust these tools 100%. The data fluctuates a bit. Which one is more accurate? I'm not really sure. I don't think anyone really knows except for the people who are intimately involved in the crawling resources of both Ahrefs and SEMrush. You can probably get more accurate data with the Google Keyword Planner, but if you think about it, if the volume is varies slightly, it's not really a big deal when you're doing keyword research. So let's take a look at Ahrefs. An interesting thing about Ahrefs is you can see the number of clicks versus the number of volume. So as you can see here, 127,000 clicks versus 270,000 volume. So according to Ahrefs, only about half or less of people who search for SEO are actually clicking on any of the listings. So they may just be analyzing the search results, or more likely they're just looking to see what SEO is. So they're looking at the rich snippet to find the definition of SEO. On the far right, you can see the global volume according to Ahrefs. You can see the top countries for this keyword. So India is the top country. So you get a little bit more data with Ahrefs. It's organized a bit better. Now, you don't see the filters right away, so you're going to have to click into one of these tabs on the left to take a look at the filters, so you can get a similar experience to SEMrush. So in this case, once again, I'm going to have to exclude these South Korean names to get a more accurate list for SEO. So let's go ahead and try out the exclude filter. And I'm not going to filter out all of these South Korean names, but let's just filter out the top ones. And you can see here, according to Ahrefs, the top keyword for SEO, besides the more broad and general keyword, would be SEO services. That's what's going to make me money if I rank for it. So that may be my top keyword if I were researching on Ahrefs. So as you can see here, you're going to get different data depending on what tool you use. So you have to take this data with a grain of salt. Should I rank for SEO services or SEO companies? And this decision is part of step 4, developing your SEO strategy around your keyword research. So SEO companies or SEO services, that's our question. Let's just take a look at the search results. For SEO companies, it's important to note how many ads you see, what rich snippets you see. There's a people also ask company, and often there's also a Google My Business section. So all of that comes before the organic search results. So for SEO companies, those are the results we get in Google. Let's look up SEO services. And here we can see a Wikipedia rich snippet, we see 2 ads rather than 4, and then we see the search results. So you may also want to look at who is ranking. So this is a SEO company, it looks like. Here's another SEO company, another SEO company. So for SEO services, Google is showing us SEO companies. For when I type in actually SEO companies, the first result actually is a directory. So clutch.co is a directory. Here's another directory by Neil Patel. And then we see an SEO company. So you can rank here as an SEO company if you're concerned about the search intent. But you may want to get yourself listed in these alternate search engines, which you can also call directories. Directories, search engines. Google is a directory, really. But these are also, more solidly defined as directories. You can get your company into clutch.co by creating an account. So that may be your best option if you want to rank for SEO companies and you want to actually get valuable traffic. So these are the kind of things that you need to consider when you're developing an SEO strategy. So I hope this video was helpful to you. I hope you learned something, and send me a message if you have any questions. Thank you for watching.